Susie and I sometimes, one of our kids does something, right?
Right.
We tell them that not to do it.
Yeah, of course.
And they're doing it.
Right.
Right? And they know the rules of the house is not to do that.
Yeah.
Okay? We, as the officials of our household, make a decision. Like, do we bring down the hammer?
Always.
Or do do you bring down? Wow, boy, Cage is going to have a great relationship with you. No, do you bring down the hammer, or do you say you don't make that big of a deal of it because you know there's going to be some other situations that the hammer needs to be brought down, or do you also look in the other direction because it's not necessary in that moment to bring the hammer down?
Sure.
Or do you just say, look, we're not doing it. We already told you not to do this.
Hey, come on. What are we doing?
Because we don't want to make a big deal out of it right now.
Right.
Because there's other things going on.
Right.
You make that call in your own household. We do that. Mm-hmm. That was what Tony Correnti was put in the position of having to do.
Yeah,
Instead, he's just like, that's a foul. Out. Go. Go. As a matter of fact, as you walk by me, I'm going to make some odd movement with my, lower body to contact you. Like, it was weird. The whole thing was weird. Like, why? Not a fan. There's not a single fan saying, get that out of the game right now. Inject yourself right now. And I warned my colleagues and friends at 345 Park Avenue to not back this play. Please don't do it. Because fans are going to be totally upset about that. Perry Fewell is the new SVP of officiating. Former coach in this league, longtime coach in this league, guy who knows this league, right? This is, and the NFL officiating department put together a video of about 90 seconds of the senior vice president of officiating talking about plays. Put it out on their Twitter account. And one of the plays was amongst just other run-of-the-mill holding penalty, this, that. Oh, yeah. Here's the one thing that actually inflamed the entire NFL community and fan base in front of an entire nation, causing everyone to talk about it for the next 24 hours. This is their response, folded into this 90-second video. Here's what Perry Fewell had to say.
In Chicago versus Pittsburgh, Bears number 59 is penalized for taunting. He takes several steps toward the Pittsburgh bench, posturing toward their sideline. Taunting is a point of emphasis to promote sportsmanship and respect for opponents. This was recommended by the competition committee and coaches.
Posturing.
I mean,
it's
we're watching something different.
It's totally interpretive dance. And it's just like there's no reason for that to have been called. You are making a mistake in saying this is what we want out of the game. The punter, who's the closest to Marsh, was kept on running. It's not like he went right back at him saying, stop staring at my bench. It didn't start anything.
It didn't start anything.
And it almost finished off the Bears when you're calling it. It started nothing. You calling it started a whole big mess with fans who want this to stop. The this being, yes, standing over somebody, out. Everything else, understand the time on the clock, the situation, and don't call it. You heard what Kittle had to say. He echoed what Ryan Clark said very, very passionately on ESPN last week. Everybody's working their ass off, 7 a.m. to 11 at night, watching film, doing this, doing that, working their entire lives to get to this moment, preparing, psyching yourself up to play a very physical, emotional game. And we're asking you, players, to tone it down and understand, don't get in the gray area. Well, the officials should understand when it's in the gray area, it's a gray area for a certain reason. You don't have to call it just in the gray area. That means it's a penalty. It's a penalty. It's a penalty. By the way, that's a GIF I don't want repeated, what I just did with my face and my arm just doing that. That's just, I don't think it's going to look good for me.
You would have been better off not saying what you just said.
I just lost sexiest bald broadcaster alive 2021. I just lost it. But you know what I mean? Like, it's incumbent on the players who are all fired up. And I know that it's an emotional game, too, for the refs. But come on, man.
It's not like these guys are working in an office, like across the thoroughfare on the fourth floor.
You're
Like,
making a mistake by saying this is the stuff you want out of the game because the stuff that you really want out of the game shouldn't be lumped in with this. It's two totally different things, but you're still saying it's taunting. We have an emphasis on this thing. And he's posturing, taking steps towards the sideline. Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. But he's not in the face of anybody. He's on the field.
It's a big field.
Walking, he's between the numbers and the hash. And the lone Steeler near him, just running past him. Sort of like that person in New York City that's doing something stupid, and we all walk past him because we got stuff to do.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Jay Glazer just passed you in the rankings because of that.
Thank you. There you go. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's just
a great point.
Honestly, it's just there are times when you have to call it, and there are times when you don't really have to call it. And if you don't really have to call it, don't call it. Because you're pissing off the fans and you're pissing off the players who are like, I don't know what's what. Help us out, refs, because we're really emotional. So when we do cross the line, you can call it. But if we're sauntering up to the line and the line is in between the hash and the numbers, help us out. We're all trying to make the game better. It's your job to officiate, which means it's your job to discern. Discern better.
Discern these.
Yeah. Discern Bofa. Not my finest moment. But still, I think I'm,
I liked what you said earlier, Rich, about the ref maybe telling him, like, hey, man, get off the field. And I wonder, do officials do that? Like,
they do. You do. You see it.
Okay.
You see it sometimes when guys are really getting in each other's faces, and then you could see officials are coming in and they're pulling them apart. They're not immediately just throwing a flag.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out why that guy
honestly, so
that.
Tony Correni, is it 2 steps too many? 3 steps too many? What is it? Like 1 or 2 steps are fine. No, you took 6 steps. No. You were staring directly at it. Like if he was at 12 o'clock, but more at like 10 o'clock. So if your body was a little bit more like how do players even know what's acceptable and what's not?
They don't.
Right? Like if he was not staring, if he was staring at the fans, that's great.
What if his parents were in that stand and he was looking for...
Definitely not that. He's staring at the Steelers bench saying, how do you like me now? You cut me. Now I'm coming off the practice squad. I just made a big play. How do you like me now? That is the international symbol of how do you like me now. And I get that. But it's not like he inflamed any situation. It's not like he enraged the Steelers. The punter was running back on the field and paid him no mind. Didn't go up to him and say, hey, cut it out. Hey, go back to your sideline. This is enough. Telling you, the league, you're making a mistake with this. Mistake. We want taunting out of the game. Do we want this called in this situation? No, we don't. You don't need to just come out. And by the way, they snuck it into some video on a Twitter account that I don't know how many people are following. Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.